Hey Cowboys fans, welcome into the Cowboys Report. I'm Thomas Mott. Thomas had me fill in today right now to give you all the latest rumors and news surrounding all the other teams in the NFC East. So we're going to go down by team, Eagles, Cowboys, Redskins, get you filled in on all the latest news to keep you guys up to date on what's happening inside your own division. And we're going to start today with the Philadelphia Eagles and Nick Foles. This has been a story that's kind of been rotating around recently in the past couple days. What are the Philadelphia Eagles going to do about Nick Foles? Now, here's a little bit of the details with Nick. They are trying to get something for him. They don't just want him to walk away in free agency and get nothing for him, because the reports are that there's actually a market for Nick Foles. So they can probably maybe get a trade out there to get something back for him. So they want to re-sign him, but it gets a little tricky here. Here's what they can do. Nick Foles has a $20 million option to play for the Eagles this next year. So the Eagles could sign him to that $20 million and then trade him. But Nick Foles could technically sign his $20 million option, buy back in with the Eagles. Then he could pay the Eagles $2 million back and buy his freedom. He then could become a free agent, walk away, and sign with whoever he wanted. Now, if he does that, the Eagles can then come back in, a little bit confusing, but come back in here, franchise tag him, and then trade him away. So now basically what this all means is that I believe the Eagles and Nick Foles are going to work out a deal where they're going to sign him for 2019, whether that's through the $20 million option or the franchise tag, and then trade him. Technically, like I said, Nick Foles could buy his freedom, but I think if the Eagles and Nick Foles work together here and kind of work out a team that he would want to be traded to, then you could see a scenario where you don't have this three-step process where Nick Foles has to re-sign, then he buys his freedom, then the Eagles franchise tag him, then they trade him. It's as simple as the Eagles can either re-sign him, trade him, or franchise tag him and trade him. Either way, it looks like the Eagles are going to be getting something in return for Nick Foles. The question is, what can it be? They reportedly want a third-round pick for Nick Foles. The resume's there, right? Super Bowl MVP last year, 4-1 in the postseason with the Eagles. For me, the top landing spots for teams that would want to trade for Nick Foles: Jacksonville number 1, the Broncos number 2, and then maybe inside the division with the Washington Redskins. That one's probably a little bit less likely because the Eagles don't want to deal Nick Foles, who I think is a pretty good quarterback, to a team they have to face twice a year. Look for Jacksonville here. If Jacksonville offers a third-round pick for Nick Foles to the Eagles, I think it's a done deal, and Nick Foles is going to play for Jacksonville this year. Either way, big picture for the Cowboy fans here, big picture for any fans in general, Nick Foles will not be an Eagle next year. This is going to be Carson Wentz's team. It's a matter of the Eagles trying to get something in return for him, which is smart. It's what they really should do. Get something in return. That way you can get that third-round draft pick and go get another pass rusher or get another cornerback or whatever the Eagles want to do with it. Overall, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below, where do you think Nick Foles will be playing in 2019? Jags, Broncos, Redskins. Is there another team you think he might play for? Let me know in the comments section down below. Sticking on with the Eagles here, they re-signed 2 key defensive players, RODNEY McLeod and Paul WORRILOW, through 2019. This is actually a pretty good move for the Philadelphia Eagles because it frees up a lot of cap space, especially with RODNEY McLeod. Now, if you're not familiar with RODNEY McLeod, he's a safety for the Eagles. He started last year until he got injured, tore his ACL in week 3, and the Eagles owed him $7.5 million this year, but were able to work some magic, move some money around, and they made it to where now they will only owe him $1.5 million this year. So it's a really team-friendly deal, and it keeps RODNEY McLeod as an Eagle through 2019. Listen, this is a really good safety, and I think an underrated safety overall for the Eagles. You already know Malcolm Jenkins. He's great, but RODNEY McLeod is really another big hitter back there and a pretty good coverage safety who the Eagles relied upon heavily during their Super Bowl run just 2 years ago. In 2016, opposing quarterbacks had a 55.0 QBR when throwing at RODNEY McLeod. He's a really good safety. Yes, he was injured, but the Eagles were able to move some money around and make it to where he doesn't hurt them against the cap as much as he would have, and it's a team-friendly deal. So if he comes back from his ACL and is great, they can re-sign him again. If not, after a year, they're able to let him go. And of course, the addition of Paul WORRILOW, he tore his ACL in this past offseason, actually the first day of training camp. Paul WORRILOW tore his ACL. He was previously with the Lions, 415 tackles and 52 starts, and this is good to keep some, I guess, some backup a backup in there in case the Eagles are unable to re-sign Hicks or Reynolds or Alexander. Those are all set to be free agents. So the Eagles re-signing Paul WORRILOW and also adding Rodney McLeod, signing them through 2019, I think is a pretty good move for the Eagles there. Remember, that defense actually played really well in the postseason, but they were banged up. Both their starting corners were out. Rodney McLeod was injured. They lost pass rushers. So you re-sign these core guys, and the Eagles might be able to have a pretty good defense coming up in 2019. Finally, we just mentioned the pass rusher for the Eagles. There's some rumors floating around that the Eagles might be in the market to sign a free agent pass rusher. The NFL insider Tony Pauline thinks, like he said, the Birds might add a pass rusher in free agency. Now, here's the deal. Brandon Graham, the Eagles' star defensive end, he was the one who stripped Tom Brady in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Remember that? A really good defensive end, not just rushing the passer, but also against the run. He is set to become a free agent. Now, he had somewhat of a down year this year compared to 2 years ago where he was really good, but the market is still going to be there for this pass rusher, so they might let him walk. Then you're going to throw in the fact that Chris Long, he's 34. Michael Bennett is going to turn 34 in November. The Eagles are suddenly at a need at defensive end, and if they could go into free agency, maybe look at some of the available pass rushers. There's a ton of really good pass rushers available in this free agency. Jadeveon Clowney, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dee Ford, Bruce Irvin, even a guy like Frank Clark had 13 sacks with Seattle this past year. Now, some of these might get re-signed. Maybe Dallas is able to find a way to find the money for DeMarcus Lawrence. Maybe Houston keeps Jadeveon Clowney. But with how many free agent pass rushers there is going to be some good ones available. And there's some interesting facts there. Will the Eagles make a run at a pass rusher if they let Brandon Graham go? They need to address it one way or the other. Whether they draft someone in the first round with their 25th overall pick, or they sign someone in free agency, or they do both, the Eagles are really in need of a pass rusher, and they might be able to add it through free agency. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Who do you think is the better free agent pass rusher? Would you rather have DeMarcus Lawrence or Jadeveon Clowney? Type D down below for Jadeveon Clowney, or excuse me, D for DeMarcus Lawrence, or J down below for Jadeveon Clowney. All right, moving right along to our Giants portion of the show, and the Giants quarterback rumors are really starting to float around. Remember, they have Eli Manning signed through next year, but he is 38 years old, and the questions then become, does Dwayne Haskins, is he starting to lobby to really become a Giant? In an interview, Haskins said he would, quote, love to play for the Giants, and he even posted on social media a picture of him in a New York Giants football jersey. It was edited over like he was already playing for the Giants. I think this is probably what the Giants might do at number 6 overall in the NFL draft. Remember, they sit there at 6, and the 5 teams before them really don't have a need for a quarterback. So unless someone trades up to that spot or trades ahead of number 6, the Giants are going to be the first team in the NFL draft this year, first team in the top 10 really, that need a quarterback and could take a quarterback at number 6. So you look at the quarterbacks there, there's Drew Lock, Kyler Murray. I think Dwayne Haskins is probably the best bet for the New York Giants. 4,381 yards in his 1 year at Ohio State last year, 50 touchdowns. This guy was probably the best passer that Urban Meyer had ever seen or ever coached at Ohio State or even Florida, back to the Tim Tebow years. He's a legit starter in this league, and I think he'd be a really, really good pick for the New York Giants. Pair him up with Saquon Barkley, pair him up with Odell Beckham Jr. Now, the key would be here is sit him behind Eli Manning. So Eli, again, is going to play another year, and so you would presumably let him learn, let him grow behind Eli Manning, much like Aaron Rodgers sat for a while, but maybe just for a year here. Let Haskins sit, grow behind Eli Manning, and then come in and take over the reins of the Giants quarterback of the future. I think the Giants need a quarterback. Eli Manning is 38 years old. He's not getting any younger, and he's not really gotten any better in the past couple of years. They need to address it this year, and at number 6 overall, that's a perfect spot to go ahead and get the best quarterback in this draft, and I think Dwayne Haskins probably is the best quarterback in this draft. He wants to be a Giant. It looks like a perfect fit, a big, big, good match there in the Big Apple in New York City. What do you guys think? Let me know down below, which quarterback should the Giants draft in the first round? Is it Dwayne Haskins? Is it Kyler Murray? Maybe Drew Lock? Maybe someone else? Let me know in the comments down below. Moving right along here to more Giant news. Cap cuts. How should the New York Giants trim their cap? There's some rumors floating around that the Giants might be looking to cut one of their star defensive players in order to get more room and stay underneath the cap. This is interesting. I found this out a couple days ago. The Giants' top 5 contracts, the most expensive 5 contracts on their team, account for 49% of their salary cap in 2019. The past 7 Super Bowl winners, their top 5 average salary only accounts for about 32.6% of their 2019 cap. What does that tell us? Is that the teams that are winning the Super Bowl, Eagles, Patriots, continue going down the line, Patriots again, right? The teams that are winning the Super Bowl in the past couple years don't have 5 massive contracts. They have it's spread, the wealth is spread throughout the team. So then you go to the Giants and you look at see who they pay the most money to. Eli Manning, Odell Beckham. Then the number and the guy that crosses the line is Olivier Vernon, right? I think the Giants might be looking to cut Olivier Vernon this year to get more money underneath the cap. He's been injured the past 2 seasons, played a little bit, then got injured. Only 7 sacks in 2018. If the Giants cut him, after all the dead money and all the cap hits and stuff, they would still save $15.5 million in 2019. Like we talked about earlier with the Eagles, there's a ton of free agent pass rushers who are probably less injury prone and younger than Olivier Vernon. Plus, the draft is stacked full of good pass rushers. This is a logical cut for the Giants to make in order to save money and really get better. How good is Olivier Vernon? We recognize the name. We know he was a good pass rusher in the past, but injured in his past 2 seasons, only 7 sacks this past year. Why not go out and get a guy like Frank Clark, who was great for the Seattle Seahawks and had 13 sacks this past year, and save a little bit of money as well? I say look for the Giants to possibly cut Olivier Vernon this offseason. Got to keep an eye on that. It's going to be very, very interesting. And again, we said it. There are a lot of good pass rushers in the draft. So you don't have to go sign one in free agency. You can go to the draft and get a guy like Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, Rashawn Gary, Cleveland Farrell, Montez Sweat. These are all really, really good pass rushers. And that's just the top 5. There are other pass rushers that you could get later in the draft. And I think that the Giants, a logical thing for them to do, save a little bit of money. Try and not have 5 massive contracts. Save a little bit of money, and then in the future, listen, Eli is going to be gone. You'll have a rookie quarterback, maybe Haskins on a rookie deal. So then the only big contract you would then have would be Odell Beckham Jr., and that gets you back down to that Super Bowl winning NFL average. About 30% of your top 5 players account for your cap in 2019. What do you guys think? Should the Giants keep Olivier Vernon or cut Olivier Vernon? Type C down below for cut or K down below for keep. Or hey, what about trade him? T down below for trade as well. Let me know what you guys think the Giants should do with Olivier Vernon. Redskins, have not thought about you. Let's get into some Redskins news. Our final team in the NFC East as we continue to look around the league and see what the teams in the NFC East are doing right now and the rumors they're going to have. Because again, everyone's got to play each other. And the Redskins are right there with some more news. And they actually had an interesting hire this past week. They hired ROBRYAN. That's right, the brother of Rex Ryan, twin brother of Rex Ryan, to be their new inside linebackers coach. This is interesting because ROBRYAN hasn't coached since 2016. He was fired whenever the Bills fired Rex Ryan because they were both working in Buffalo together. I believe Rob was an assistant coach, and so he got fired. So he hasn't coached since 2016. And he apparently interviewed for the Redskins defensive coordinator position a couple years back. So the Redskins and ROBRYAN have been kind of flirting together for a couple of years, and finally they actually do hire him. And ROBRYAN has come out and said he's a big supporter and admirer of the Redskins head coach Jay Gruden. So here we go. We pair up ROBRYAN with the Washington Redskins, and maybe this could be a pretty good pairing here. Remember, ROBRYAN's resume is a little interesting, right? He's 56 years old. He did defensive coordinator stints in New Orleans, Dallas, Cleveland, and Oakland. His best year was probably 2013 with the Saints. He had a top 5 defense there, but then, got to remember, the next year they were basically bottom of the league in every single defensive category. So ROBRYAN, he's been up and down. But this is interesting because they're not making him a defensive coordinator, just making him an inside linebackers coach. So they plug in his defensive prowess, his defensive mindset, but don't give him the keys to the castle. It's an interesting move from a media standpoint because we all think ROBRYAN and we see the long hair and he's the twin brother of Rex Ryan. He's kind of goofy and he's been up and down in his career, but overall, it's probably a pretty good hire by the Washington Redskins. It's kind of we have nothing to lose here. If he's a great inside linebacker head coach, then he's going to get another defensive coordinator spot at either in Washington or with another team. But if he's not good, you didn't pay him a lot of money, and he's just the inside linebackers head coach, so you can technically fire him or get rid of him in a couple of years. Not a big deal there. But the Redskins, like every other team in the NFC East, already starting to make moves. And that leads us into our next topic with the Washington Redskins. And this one is going to be the big one. This is the most important thing the Redskins have to figure out in 2019, especially this offseason. Alex Smith. Now, I know what you're saying. I thought Alex Smith was going to be, done for the season. He wasn't going to play in 2019. But actually, recent news has come out to say that Alex Smith might not miss all of 2019. And it's interesting here because the Redskins president, Bruce Allen, said in an NFL Network interview just this past week that he called the reports of Alex Smith missing all of 2019, quote, nonsense. So, but he didn't really dive into anything else there. He didn't say why he thought that was nonsense. He just said it was nonsense. So, Bruce is maybe seeing things that we are not. You got to remember what happened to Alex Smith. 6-4 last year with the Redskins, and then in Week 11 broke both his fibula and his tibia, in the Week 11 loss to the Houston Texans. And he also started battling some infections post-surgery, and so he had the complications there, and so he really hasn't been able to do much, let alone walk, because of course the broken leg and the infection. He was in the hospital for like a month, so everyone immediately thought that Alex Smith was going to miss all of 2019. And now with the report and the interview that Bruce Allen's saying he's not going to miss all of 2019, this is going to be interesting to see what the Redskins are going to do with Alex Smith, because he's going to miss something, right? That's the important part here. Alex Smith will not be the starter Week 1. And he's not going to take any reps in training camp, and he's probably not going to be ready by midway through the season. So you got to remember that even though Bruce Allen thinks that he might not miss all of 2019, he's not going to play all of 2019. He's going to miss some games, and so the Redskins are going to have to be prepared with what to do at the quarterback position, because all they have on their roster right now is Colt McCoy, and we all know Colt McCoy is not an NFL starter. So the Redskins, they have to figure out in the next couple months who is going to be that Week 1 starter. And that moves us right into our next headline. I think it could be Kyler Murray. Are the Redskins eyeing the former Heisman winner to be the next starting quarterback for the Washington Redskins? But multiple mock drafts have had the Redskins landing Kyler Murray at 15. I saw one that had him, they traded up to 9 to draft Kyler Murray. I think this has some weight to it. I think this could be a legit rumor here. The Redskins are definitely looking at Kyler Murray to be the quarterback of the future, and I'll tell you why. I said earlier, I think the Giants are going to go with Dwayne Haskins at 6. So if Haskins off the board, then someone might trade into the top 10 to get that next quarterback. Whether it's Drew Lock, whether it's Daniels from Duke, or whether it's Kyler Murray. I think if Murray declares, and he's officially going to be an NFL player, he's declared for the draft, but he's still going to be an NFL player, that's his future, then teams are going to fall in love with this young guy from Oklahoma. He's the former Heisman winner. He's a great player. And maybe the Redskins could be that next team to either move up or sit patiently at 15 and take Kyler Murray. But the Redskins, the issue is they only have 7 picks. And they need a quarterback, yes, but they also need a lot of other positions as well. They got to protect the quarterback. You could use another skill player. So what are they going to do with their picks in this NFL draft? Again, they also have the 21st most cap space in the NFL. Now, 21st most is not a lot, but it's still enough to where they could make some moves. So maybe you address some moves in free agency, and then you're able to use that first-round pick to draft Kyler Murray. I think that this could be a very interesting pairing here. Murray will be a first-round draft pick. I think that is pretty much guaranteed. If he declares officially that he's going to play in the NFL for years to come, he will go in the first round. And we see this happen a lot come draft time. February, March, beginning of April. Average quarterbacks, or even slightly good quarterbacks, the hype train starts rolling, and their draft stock starts going up. So Dwayne Haskins is already rated to be a top 10 draft pick. He could go even higher. Someone might trade up to 2 or 3 to pick him. Kyler Murray's the same way. He's slated to be a late first rounder. That's only going to go up as teams meet with him, as he has his, workouts, his private workouts with teams. His draft stock is going to go up, and so you could see him landing in that late top 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 range, or early teens as being the spot to pick Kyler Murray. And the Redskins need a quarterback because Alex Smith, we just said, he's going to miss some time, whether it's, week 7 until week 7 or maybe until week 11. He's going to miss some time, so you probably got to draft his replacement. I think Kyler Murray could be an excellent, excellent pick. Remember, The Redskins have not drafted a quarterback in the first round since 2012. Robert Griffin III from Baylor. He was a former Heisman winner. Won Rookie of the Year. Got injured. Has never been the same. What do you guys think? If the Redskins draft Kyler Murray, right? Let's look into our crystal ball here. They draft Kyler Murray. Who will have the better NFL career? Type R down below for RG3 or type K down below for Kyler Murray. I would tend to lean towards Kyler Murray. He might have a better upside. But then again, RG3 had a huge upside coming into the NFL. Played really well for a year, and like we said, has not been the same ever since. Let me know in the comments down below. That's it for all of our NFC East rumors. Cowboy fans, one more poll though. Which team are you most worried about going into 2019 in your own division? Out of the Redskins, Eagles, and Giants, which team do you think poses the greatest threat to take down the Cowboys as the reigning NFC East divisions? Is it Philadelphia whenever they reload? Is it the Giants with a new quarterback? Or is it maybe Kyler Murray-led Washington Redskins? Who do you think will be the biggest threat to the Dallas Cowboys in 2019? Let me know in the comments down below. That's it for our rumors today. I'm Thomas Mott with Chat Sports, here for your Cowboys report on everyone in the NFC East. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.